Type 1 diabetes, usually developed in childhood, is an autoimmune disease in which the insulin-producing cells in the body are destroyed, resulting in no insulin being made at all. Insulin is a vital hormone which converts the food we eat into energy.
I just did my morning blood test to see what my glucose were.
Rachel is 15. She has had type 1 diabetes since she was 6 years old. I've come to spend the day with her to see what the average day for someone with type 1 diabetes consists of.
7.5. And I counted how many carbohydrates are in my meal, so this morning I've had 20 because of my toast and none in my egg, and then I'll take insulin accordingly, so I need 6 units.
People with type 1 diabetes must take their insulin manually, either via an injection or via an insulin pump, which is worn 24/7.
I'm using my short-acting Novorapid, and I take my long-acting in the morning as well as night. So I have 19 units of this one and 7 of this. But my dad does it for me. Can you do my insulin, please?
People need insulin every minute of the day, so Rachel takes Lantus, a long-acting insulin, which keeps her blood sugar levels stable all day. People on an insulin pump will have small drops of rapid-acting insulin every couple of minutes to replace the Lantus injection.
Thank you. This pen you can push down and it tells you how many units you had and how long ago you had it, and then it's really useful, so if you've forgotten you can click the end and find out if you did forget or not.
She went back to school after the summer holidays. Well, we getting reports back that she was crying all the time. She'd burst into tears and crying at school, and we blamed the school. In fact, we looked at another school to take her out. So we went to France and drinking lots, we go to the restaurant, drinking loads, always thirsty, drinking lots. And then of course we were stopping all the way up on the motorway coming home, stopping in wee stops. And my niece came to babysit, and she said, "Oh, have you thought about diabetes?" And we had some keto sticks upstairs, and so we tested and it showed positive.
How old was she at the time?
6, Halloween night, 6, so she was a week before her 7th birthday.
What are the day-to-day challenges of type 1 diabetes?
Okay, so it's trying to control it to get a decent, constant level, would be fair to say. And it doesn't. Things change from day to day. One day is never the same as the next. With her insulin, some days it works too well, other days it doesn't seem to work at all.
My name is Chris Wood, I work for JDRF in London. I was diagnosed on the 23rd of March 2012. Okay, so one of the forms of treatment for type 1 diabetes is something called MDI, which is multi-daily injections. This is the treatment that I am currently on, which involves 4 to 5 injections a day. One will be an injection that has a baseline of insulin throughout the day. The other type of insulin that I take is what I take with meals. So whenever I have carbohydrates, which is in more foods than you think. In fact, most foods will have some sort of carbohydrate. So whenever I have a meal, I have to test my blood first to make sure, or to find out what level of glucose is currently in my blood. That then dictates how much insulin I need to take with my meal. And that has to happen with every meal of every day. So 3 meals a day, 7 days a week.
Whilst at JDRF, I also got to have a chat with Regan and his dad, Jamie. Regan is 10 and has had diabetes for 5 years. He is currently using an insulin pump.
This is the
tubing,
yeah,
to the cannula,
where the insulin goes through, and if there's a bubble, that's a big problem, sort of, because it means the insulin isn't coming through. It leads onto the cannula, and it's got like a mini tube on it instead of a needle. The needle comes out as soon as you put the pump in.
The pros are certainly the independence that it's now given Regan. It was a very difficult thing with the injections, just to be able to do the simple things like going to friends for meals or sleepovers or anything like that at all was almost impossible. So that's the most significant change, I think, for him. But more than anything else, it is just, as Regan has said before, he really didn't like to have injections as regularly as he was.
Just doing my before lunch test, and then there's 40 units in my sandwich, so I'll put that in, and that's 9 units.
Blood glucose is affected by pretty much everything in daily life, that's why you need to test so often, so you're aware of your levels. It's anything from the obvious ones of carbohydrates and insulin, which affect your levels, but also stress, weather, exercise is a big thing that affects levels. Pretty much anything that you can think of would affect your levels.
So how do you guys feel being friends with someone that's diabetic?
Doesn't really change us. I treat you the same as any other person. Normal. Very normal.
Normal.
Except I get to leave classes for food.
Biscuits, if it's like break time and you guys come, this is Long's just like, do you want a biscuit? Go on, just help yourself. And I'm going to do my lunchtime injection, and I'm having 9 units because 8 for what I ate and 1 because my bloods are a little bit above what they should be.
The ideal range of 4 to 8, most of us are somewhere between 4 and 6 if we haven't got diabetes. So if she goes above 8, she needs rapid acting insulin. Or maybe, yeah, and if she eats, that then puts up her sugar levels, so she needs rapid acting insulin. If she goes below 4, she then needs carbohydrates, sugar mainly, to bring her sugar levels back up to the ideal range of 4 to 8.
Do you remember when Rachel told you that she's diabetic?
No, I don't remember because we've always known her being diabetic. She never really told us, it just probably did like a test in front of us, and then like we just asked her, why are you doing that?
Do you think other people at your school have any misconceptions about type 1 diabetes?
Some might like assume that it's because she ate too much or something, but like that's type 2, not type 1.
Do you think that that's a problem for Rachel at school, like people thinking that she got it because she ate too much when she was younger?
I think it would upset me if someone thought that.
So what is the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes?
Well, my understanding of it, and I'm not a doctor, so this is just my understanding, is that type 1 is when your pancreas actually doesn't produce any insulin at all. And type 2 is when, due to sort of social things that have happened, whether you've put on weight or you've just got older, your pancreas does produce insulin, but not enough to cater for your bodily needs. And I do think that type 2 should have a different name from type 1. So when we watch the news and you see, like, they say diabetes and they show a middle-aged, overweight man, and that's people's perception of diabetes, I think it's really wrong because Rachel doesn't look like that.
Well, we all go to a really small school compared to most like average sized schools, so I think it could be like a lot different if she went to an average sized school, because she'd have to do a lot more, like she'd have to carry around her own treatment and stuff, whereas here she's become close with one of the people who she goes to every lunchtime, Mrs. Long, who like looks after her, and all the teachers like ask her in the corridor, are you okay? Whereas at a bigger school I don't think that would happen. I don't think many of the teachers would even know like who she was.
We're on our way home and I'm feeling a bit funny, so I'm just going to test. My blood's a bit low, so I need to take some sugar, and I carry these on me, so I'll take a few. We just sat down for dinner, so I'm going to do my before dinner test again. Now I'll work out the carbs.
So what are you eating tonight?
We're having Indian takeaway, so the carbs will be from the papadum and the naan. Is there any in this?
There'll be some sweetener in the sauce.
So I'd guess probably 40-50 grams. I think I'll go for 45.
So does your tester tell you how many units that you need to do?
Yeah, it's got my ratio, which is 1 to 5. So for every 5 grams of carbohydrate, I have 1 unit of insulin. And then I put in the carbohydrate and it works it out for me. I need 11. Oh yeah, it's just next door.
There's more ice cream as well.
It wasn't next door. Oh, I think it's run out. Yeah, I'm going to have to change the cartridge. I've just got to warm it up because obviously it's been in the fridge, it's a bit cold. And then put it in. Oh, I need a needle.
Primed?
Yep.
Let's get this up the road. But I don't like it.
Is it not as good as usual?
You can stop blowing. Oh, it's not, carry on.
I'm just getting ready to go to bed, so I need to do a test to make sure I'm not going to go low overnight or anything.
Sleeping with the pump is easy, most of the time. I can't sleep on my belly, of course, because otherwise the needle sort of digs into my body more than I want it to be, more than I want it to. And this sort of pushes wherever it is. So usually I just sleep on my side or on my back.
My bloods are 14, which is a little bit high, so I'll probably do a correction, an injection probably of 2 or 3 units, just so that they're not too high when I wake up in the morning. I've also just taken my Lantus, which is night background insulin, and it keeps your bloods at a stable level overnight.
JDRF fund the best research in the world, and if you'd like to join us on our mission to cure type 1 diabetes, you can go to our website to donate, which is jdrf.org.uk/donate.
On your marks, get set, go! I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes almost 10 years ago. Whilst this film doesn't tell you everything I would like you to know about life with type 1, I hope it has given you a clearer understanding of what diabetes is and its daily effects.
I've never seen someone do it in their arm before, blood test.
No, neither have I.